Hello and welcome into the Computer America Show. This is the little pre-show that we do here, as in just getting the YouTube started and getting a little bit behind the scenes here as we get ready for today's show. And today we have Sandy Berger here with us. She is our consumer electronics expert and correspondent. Looking forward to this because she hasn't been on the show in the past month or so, personal issues. But we are very happy she's finally made it back here with us, and we have a lot to talk about, including the iPhone 7, Surface tablet, Google hardware, Amazon, the new Dot, and Amazon reviews. It's going to be a lot of fun, so stay tuned.
Your show will go live in 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1.
Broadcasting live. It's America's longest running national radio talk show on computers. Computer America. Hosted by national columnist Craig Crossman. Look for Craig's weekly America's longest running broadcasting live. It's America's longest running national radio talk show on computers.
Here we go.
There
we go. Sorry about that, folks. And
computers run the world, and we run computers. Call us or send us an email to live@computeramerica.com.
It's going to be one of those days, I can already tell. Welcome into the Computer America Show. It is the nation's longest-running, nationally syndicated radio talk show on computers and technology. And as you can see, we are professionals with a capital P here when it comes to broadcasting. So, everyone, thank you for tuning in, and thank you for joining us once again. We have a great show here for you today as we talk everything consumer electronics, and we have a very special correspondent here with us. As we said before, she missed one or two shows before, but we are glad to have her back, Sandy Berger, once again, to tell us all about, or at least talk to us about, all the new consumer electronics out on the market. Because as the holiday season quickly approaches, more and more companies are going to be trying to catch your attention and saying they have the best thing, they have the number one thing on the market. And we need people like Sandy. We need people, we need articles like those that she writes. We need them everywhere to kind of guide us and tell us what is junk and what is actually worth keeping an eye out for. So yeah, we're going to do the entire hour with Sandy. But before we get to her in particular, I have some things I want to get out there. In that this Friday, we are going to be giving away yet again another Keys to Go by Logitech. Yes, they do a great job sponsoring our contest, and definitely go check them out. Again, just type into Google Keys to Go by Logitech. It's a $70 keyboard that's ultra portable, ultra soft, has like a 3-month battery life on it, very power efficient, and great for iOS and Android. You have to specify which one you want if you win on the show, but yeah, it works for either iOS or later forms of Android. And again, the best way to enter that contest is by going to computeramerica.com, finding all of our social media. Give us a follow, give us a like, give us a subscribe. Support us on social media, and you are entered to win just like that. Very simple, and we do that every single Friday. So listen in Friday as well to hear your name read live on the air. And also, computeramerica.com, great place to go if you are looking for archives of the show. So maybe you missed something, or you want to hear it again, or maybe for some reason you had to stop listening halfway through. Check out computeramerica.com, and we'll have archives, audio and video, to everything that we do here, as well in the show notes, as well as show notes, of course, which have everything that we're going to talk about. And we kind of rattled off some of them, including today we're going to cover the iPhone 7, of course. That is still brand new, just a couple weeks into the marketplace, and finally, hopefully a lot of people have some hands-on experience with it. Anyways, iPhone 7, the new Surface from Microsoft, and many other topics. But if you want to know what we're going to talk about, check out the show notes. That simple. And I think with that being said, I don't want to drag this out any longer, and I just want to pull Sandy in here. So I want everyone to give a big round of applause for Sandy Berger, who is joining us once again. And Sandy, thanks for coming on the show again.
Hey, Ben, I'm really glad to be with you.
Yeah, absolutely. And, and I know this is, you're one of Craig's favorite correspondents, and no, I don't say that to everyone, but
good to know.
Yeah, and he's really kicking himself that he can't be on the air with us, but, I know that he's listening, and I know this is going to be a lot of fun today. So, yeah, before we get started, why don't, maybe some people, this is their first time hearing about you, so why don't you tell everyone, kind of what you do, what you write. Of course, CompuKiss, that's the one that we have in the show notes to your website. But do you write articles, or what do you do in your time that you're
in
not?
my spare time? I don't have any spare time, Ben. But what I do basically is write about technology, the latest and greatest trends, the latest and greatest products. I also do a lot of you need to know kind of articles. So the CompuKiss website, which is www.compukiss.com, at that website, it's more explaining things that you need to know. For instance, this week Amazon changed some of their things, and they're actually giving away more free things than they used to. There's just a lot of articles like that. Now, I really do cover the gamut, Ben. Hardwaresecrets.com is another place that I write for, and that arena there is more of the geeky type people who are attracted to that website. So when we write about things for there, we get maybe a little bit more technical. I've also just started writing for a place called GoGo Air. I don't know if you've ever heard of them.
No.
GoGo Air is providing internet service on airplanes. And it's very, very interesting because now I'm writing more articles with a travel twist. In other words, what do you need for technology? How do you get ready for that flight? What do you do with your laptop? How do you handle different electricity in different countries and all sorts of things like that? So really, again, cover the gamut, write about technology. I also have a newspaper column at thepilot.com, which is a local North Carolina newspaper. And got a lot of seniors that go to that or subscribe to that newspaper. So again, we try to gear the writing a little bit more to the audience.
Absolutely. And yeah, so definitely go check all of that out. And GoGo Air, I'll definitely give them a look, because I know that I at least when I fly, like if you don't have it stored on your phone, and I know like I don't keep music on my phone anymore. I don't keep games on my phone anymore. But yeah, I mean, when you're flying, definitely want that internet access. And it sounds like, you can hear some of your content, kind of what you need to know before you start traveling. So
right, it's at an area called the Concourse on the GoGo website.
Right. Yeah. So everyone, please go check those out, or check us out here right now on Computer America as we get into, I'm sure we're going to talk about some of the articles she's written, but mostly we're going to focus on the latest consumer electronics, because, hey, that is a lot of fun, and that's what we like to do here.
Right.
So, yeah, I guess starting out today, we can go I want to say go back a little bit back in time, but let's face it, it's only been maybe 3 weeks since the Apple iPhone 7 was released, or maybe 4 weeks at this point. But now that people have some hands-on, and now that we know that this particular phone is not exploding, why don't you give us your impression? Because you've had a lot of iPhones. How does this one stack up compared to Apple's usual fare?
It stacks up very well. This is the iPhone 7 is actually a very nice phone. And let me explain to people that you are correct. I have had a lot of iPhones. What I do in my house is have a mixed marriage. My husband is Android and I am iPhone or Apple. So basically, since he always has an Android, a lot of times I have units in here for review, but he always has his Android phone and I always have my iPhone. So if I want to write some tips on what to do with your phones or whatever, I have access to both phones. So I have had an iPhone since, I think since the second one came out. And they were groundbreaking when they first, earth-shattering when they first came out.
For sure.
There is no earth-shattering left. The items that are in this new phone are evolutionary rather than revolutionary. And yet they make a very, very good phone. They're always known for the design, the wonderful design that they have, and the really good quality of the build. So the phone is well put together, feels great in the hand. This one is extremely lightweight. And I went from the bigger phone. I went from the 6 Plus to the regular 7. So I didn't get the Plus this time. I got the smaller phone. And I'm finding that I really like it.
Yeah, it wasn't too jarring to lose that much real estate.
It really wasn't jarring at all. As a matter of fact, I was getting upset with the larger phone because I couldn't put it in my pocket when I went out to work in the yard or whatever. Um, it just got to be a bit of an inconvenience. Now, I bought that phone. In particular, I bought a Plus in the 6 because it had image stabilization on it, and the regular iPhone did not have it on.
Right.
But they have changed that. That's one thing that they've improved. So now the image stabilization is on both the smaller and the larger iPhone. They've also added a lot of features that I consider that they're playing catch up with others, meaning Samsung and LG and others have had waterproof phones for quite a while. Now, I shouldn't say waterproof, I should say water resistant.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So, that's something that they're just playing catch up on. Others have had it before, and even the camera, although the camera on this thing is wonderful, it is, in my opinion, about the same level as the Samsung Galaxy 7.
Yeah, it's in a lot of respects, the Samsung line has long been seen as the the one rival to the iPhone, just because the price point is very, very similar and the
Right.
technology is always kind of neck and neck with each other. But like, I don't know when it happened, but Android kind of got like the 6 month leap on iPhone. So like, I feel like if it was the other way around, like if iPhone had the 6 months, then they would say, oh, Samsung is just a cheap knockoff of, or a knock
Right.
of the iPhone. But because somewhere in there, Samsung was able to get that little bit of a leap. Now it's iPhone playing catch up instead of being the latest on the market.
Exactly, and you are right there. And the place that it happened was this year, because Samsung this year, they jumped the gun and they came out with their Galaxy 7s well before Apple came out with their iPhone 7.
Right.
Now, just recently, as you know, they've had some serious problems with their Note 7, which, by the way, I had looked at briefly, had not written a review, but I had looked at it and thought that it was phenomenal as far as the features and everything. So it was a really great phone, except for one little flaw.
Yeah,
Right.
but I mean, like, that was the thing, was that it, like, software wise, hardware wise, usability wise, like, people really enjoyed it. It's just like, they were using it even after what was it, like 3 dozen cases of of
Right.
original phone, and then like several of the replacement phones all caught fire in people's hands or pockets or beds or what have you. I mean, people were still using them because they were still very well made phones.
Exactly. And, it's kind of funny. The reason this probably happened, and I'm guessing, I've had written articles on the technology of lithium ion and how all that works. And it really does seem to be down to the battery, even though when they put new batteries in, the same thing happened. It really does seem to be a battery problem. And the funny thing to me about that, the ironic thing is, up until this phone, or maybe the previous one, I think the previous one,
Right.
Galaxy's always had removable batteries, which might have actually solved this problem or
Oh,
made it easier for them to exchange or whatever. And yet they followed Apple. And if Apple doesn't have a removable battery, then we don't have to have a removable battery. And guess what happened? They got stuck instead of Apple.
yeah, no, and we're going to get back to the iPhone 7 in a second, but since we're on the subject, I've heard a lot of speculation that obviously with what happened, with the with the Note 7s, that they're probably the Note 8 is almost undoubtedly going to have a removable battery. Like, that's almost a guarantee at this point.
Right.
And then the second thing is that something that we didn't even talk about that just happened yesterday, I believe. Like, we heard rumors on Monday and speculation on Monday, but Tuesday they just came right out and said it, that they are stopping all production on the Note 7s, and
Right.
they're discontinuing it. So they're just going to scrap this whole iteration of the Note line.
And I think right now for them, that's the smartest thing that they could do. And I doubt that there will ever be another Note. They will call it something else. But they have to get to the bottom of what actually happened. When you start making these phones smaller and smaller, you're making the batteries smaller and smaller, which is not necessarily good in a lithium-ion battery. But we'll see what happens. This is going to speed up the technology for solid-state batteries. You know, a lithium-ion battery has the liquid in there.
Yep.
And that liquid is what catches fire or what can explode. So the solid-state ones, which have metal or another material in there that's not liquid,
Right.
That's going to be the thing of the future. They've already got them, they're already testing them, but you know, they have to speed that up.
Yeah, this isn't the first time that batteries en masse have exploded. I mean,
Right.
there were certain airlines that do shipping that like flat out refused to accept certain kind of lithium-ion battery because it would explode on their cargo flights.
Right. And there are rules for cargo that these batteries can only be charged up to a certain degree. They don't want to ship batteries that are 100% charged,
Right.
which is why you never get a phone, one of today's lithium-ion phones, that are 100% charged. Because for shipping, they have to keep them maybe in the 50% bracket or something right around there for safety reasons.
Just crazy, and I don't want to delve. I don't want to delve too deep into the woes of the Note. Just fair to say that if you have a Note out there, return it, get something different. Don't sit on it, because if there's not a problem today, what happens when there's a problem in 6 months to a year to 2 years?
Exactly. People needed to get those phones back to where they bought them and get their money back or get another phone. And Apple is going to be the obvious beneficiary of this.
Well, yeah, I mean Apple for sure, because we're going to talk about the iPhone 7 and we're going to get into some of the features that you like, but also oddly enough, because Samsung runs Android, Android is a product of Google. Google might actually be a beneficiary of this as well, because a little bit later we're going to talk about all the new hardware that Google announced, including a new high-end phone that is on par, supposedly price-wise and spec-wise, with the iPhone 7 and the Samsung line.
Right, exactly. So Google and Apple will be the beneficiaries of this whole Samsung problem. Samsung has to do some PR work real fast to get through this. If you remember, do you remember the Tylenol scare a few years ago?
I no, actually.
Oh, well, there were tainted bottles of Tylenol had poison in them, and they were distributed quite widely, and millions and millions of bottles of this Tylenol was recalled, and it got a terrible, terrible name. And what they did is they found the problem, or found a way to solve the problem, which was to put tamper-proof seals on and covers. They convinced the audience that this was a safe way, a way to keep the drugs safe, and it was much better. And guess what? Tylenol today is just as big a brand name as it was before this happened.
Definitely.
That's what Samsung has to do, something like that. They have to figure out what went wrong and how to convince people that they've got it covered for the future.
Yeah, you don't even have to go all the way back to Tylenol. I mean, even the iPhone 4 had the awful. I hate that they just put gate on the end of anything like Watergate, but antenna gate. The iPhone 4,
That's right.
the design was completely awful. To a lesser phone, that would have killed the whole line, because hey, they're made shoddily. But iPhone came back, and I think Samsung can do the same. Just
Right.
Just rebrand the Note. Just rebrand it.
Let me tell you the reason that Apple was able to come back at that time is they had a huge press conference, and they discussed the whole thing and brought it out in the open, told people what the problem was and what they were doing about it, and it solved it immediately.
Yeah, I believe the initial response was, "You're holding it wrong." And
Yeah, but they did bring it to people's attention, what they could do, and et cetera, et cetera. So there are ways that Samsung can handle this. It's going to be very interesting to see what they actually do.
Definitely. But we can at least strike the Samsung Galaxy Note 7 off of your Christmas list. And
Definitely.
instead, maybe even switch over to the iPhone 7. Now, the iPhone 7, I saw a I saw bits and pieces of the keynote. I've never been able to sit through a whole keynote, but the I think like the standout features that Apple really wanted everyone to look at was like, sometimes they talk about, their Retina displays, or maybe they talk about how sleek and elegant it is. But it seems like this time they really wanted to put importance on the camera. Like they had a lot of different features with the dual camera in the back and the front facing camera. Like it seems like they really wanted this to be the camera phone for the masses that was like really, really good.
Well, you're right. And on the larger one, they put the dual cameras. And again, this was not something new. This is something that LG and others have done in the past and done very well. And Samsung was the first one to come out with the camera that had the larger pixels. So it wasn't anymore how many megapixels do you have, but it was how large are they, so they could let more light in, so they could take better pictures at night.
Right.
So the Samsung 7, Galaxy 7 has, they don't have the dual cameras, but they have that quality. And the camera on the Galaxy is wonderful, and the camera on the 7 is just as good. I mean, they are on the par. Now, I have a regular 7. I don't have the 7 Plus with the dual cameras. That, from the keynote, it looked like they were going to take some pretty fantastic pictures with that. And you're right, Ben, they did stress the camera very, very much in the keynote. And what I'm finding that I like even better on the phone is it's faster. It is so much smoother than the 6. Now, I didn't have a 6XS, but then if you go from the 6 to the 7, you will notice immediately how smooth it is, how fast it is. So that's why I say, again, it's incrementally better, and iOS 10 makes it quite a bit better. Now, you can put iOS 10 on some of your older equipment, and it will run well too, but they've made a lot of improvements in iOS 10.
Yeah, and absolutely. And the iOS 10 came out about a week before the new iPhone drops. So
right.
New operating system that came with it. Very, very good. So, and the all the different cameras from iPhone come with the optical image stabilization. It has like a little rotor, the little metal kind of thing, kind of keeps your hand steady. All the hand shaking out of it. Shoots 4K video, slow-mo. I mean, yeah, it sounds like, it's a good camera, is what you're saying, but
right.
It's now industry standard good, not, blow your mind good.
Exactly. Now, that might not be the case on the Plus. The Plus might be slightly groundbreaking, but I really feel like the camera and everything else on this phone is good. It's very good.
Right.
So there's nothing to say I downgrade this because it can't do this or can't do that. If there's anything I'd say about the phone is the features that they have put on it, they have not really done anything to tell the people about it. And some of them are obvious, like there's raise to wake. So you raise the phone and it wakes up, which is very nice. You don't have to touch it.
That confused me for the longest time. Like, I don't want to say the longest. Like, I know iPhones. That confused me for about a day and a half, and I was like, "Is that really happening?" And you pick it up and it turns itself on. I was like, "Did I?" Yeah, no. That was a surprise. Like that's if anyone has an older iOS 9 or 8 or what have you, that feature's been around with when you talk on the phone. When you hold it to your ear, the screen shuts off, and when you take it away from your head, the screen turns back on. Like that feature's been around, but they kind of applied it to the whole phone.
Which is very, very nice. Actually, Samsung, again, is slightly ahead because they have where you can see the time without touching the phone. The screen stays on, and the time and whatever else you want, like the number of messages or other things you can put on there on the lock screen.
Mm-hmm.
So I almost like that better, but this is still a nice feature. The reason I was mentioning it is because it's obvious.
Yeah.
You have the phone, use it. It's something different. But there are so many hidden things in iOS 10 that I don't think the average person investigates enough to figure it out. They've wildly improved the message app.
The messaging app is like, I have friends that use Messenger. Unfortunately, I still have an iPhone 5S. Craig has a 6S, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But I still have a 5S, so like I can't use a lot of the features that come with Messenger. But my friends that do have it, they're starting to write me handwritten messages. They're starting to do all the effects, all the like the dust. Like they're really taking advantage of all the weird features in the Messenger.
Have you gotten any messages with invisible ink yet?
Yes, I have. Yes, I
Oh,
have.
that is, I think, a really cool feature. And for people that go ahead and describe that for people that don't understand what that is.
If you're talking about what I think you're talking about, it's like it looks all blurry and pixelated and kind of floating like a cloud, and then you kind of press it with your finger, like you tap it, and the dust kind of explodes or wipes away, and it exposes the message that they write to you. And it's kind of like yeah, you can get the text message, and you see that they sent you something, but you don't know what they sent you until you actually tap it.
Exactly. And it's kind of a surprise thing, like saying, it's a boy or it's a girl.
Right.
It's
It's something that, like if you send them an invisible ink, it won't like, give away the message on like the lock screen. Like you have to go there and, manually do it.
right. No, yeah, I agree. I really like that feature. But again, I don't think Apple has really done enough to tell people where all these features are. Photos is very much improved now. Again, Apple is playing a little catch up because Google Photos had all the face recognition features and the idea that you could type in dog and get all the pictures of dogs. Well, now you can do that on Apple Photos as well. Music is also Apple Music is also been revamped and is much better than it used to be.
Mhm.
Now, I don't use Apple Photos and I don't use Apple Music, and the reason is because I've gone to Google Photos and Amazon Music because everybody else has gotten kind of ahead of Apple on that.
Yeah, and again, this is a topic that we're probably going to bring up in the next half hour. But Google Photo, we're going to talk about the new Google hardware and, of course, the new Google camera. Or, I'm sorry, the new Google phone, and yeah, all of their different services, especially Photos, is going to make a big impact on Google's own phone. So I
Right.
don't see like at this point, it's not really for Apple to catch up and say, "Hey, we're good." At this point, it's for Google to drop the ball and let other people into the market because Google, I think, really did it well. It really does it well.
Yeah, they do. And Apple is doing it well too. So I can't say, again, I can't say anything bad about this phone. I am anxious, very anxious to see the AirPods, which is their wireless earphones.
Yeah, that's one topic that we haven't touched yet, which was, I think, the biggest point of contention and the biggest point of debate with the phone was the elimination of the headphone jack. And
Right. And to
yeah,
me, the headphone jack was from the 1800s. I mean, this was the technology that was used when they used to have women sit at the switchboard and plug in the lines to make the connections. It's an old technology that I think Apple was fine with getting rid of it, in my own opinion. Now, the one thing they did better this time than when they did the Lightning adapter change
mhm.
is they put the adapter in the box with the phone. So when they did the move to Lightning, if you had old devices, Apple devices that you want to use, you had to go out and buy a $25 adapter. This time Apple learned from that. Oh, there was an uproar over it.
Yeah.
So this time they have put the adapter in the box. So if you have old headphones that you want to attach, you can attach them. And there are advantages to using the Lightning connection rather than the old-fashioned plug. And one of them is going to be shown with this AirPods, they call them. They're wireless earphones that are coming out, I think, in October, late October.
Yeah, these are the replacement to, of course, the earbuds, the earpods that I think Apple is well known for. But instead of having the cord that strings between the two and to the phone, they're cordless. They charge inside of their carrying case, and they have like a quick charge feature. So hopefully you don't spend too long with them, having to charge. Like hopefully, Apple's hoping that they are as convenient as a wired headphone, just without the wire.
Right. And when you say wireless headphones, they still, all of them, other than this new one, have a wire that runs from one ear to the other.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Oh.
So although you're saying these are wireless, they still have a cable attached to them. The AirPods are supposed to be completely wireless. So I'm going to find those very interesting.
Yeah, we'll see what the quality is. And hey, Sandy, I'll be honest with you, we are right up against the break. But when we come back, I think we're going to move. Well, the iPhone 7, obviously something that everyone should keep an eye out on. And hey, now with the Note at least out of the way, there's very, very few options if you want that quality of phone other than the iPhone. So, but I think when we come back, we're going to switch from Apple to Google and talk about everything that they announced out at their keynote. So, Sandy, stay tuned. Everyone else, stay tuned as well as we continue on here on Computer America.
Looking for a best friend? Brother Wolf Animal Rescue has your best friend waiting just for you. The mission of Brother Wolf Animal Rescue is to help build a sustainable, no-kill community where no dogs or cats are ever killed for population control, where true euthanasia is reserved only for animals who are irremediably suffering or for animals who are truly a threat to society and with no hope of rehabilitation. Brother Wolf staff and volunteers go door to door, neighborhood by neighborhood, to educate citizens about local resources available for at-risk pets and to help their families connect with those resources. Brother Wolf's community-based approach to no-kill helps keep family pets healthy, happy, and in their homes and out of the local shelter system in the first place. For more information or to make a tax-deductible donation to this wonderful 501c3 organization, visit their website at www.bwar.org. Help to realize Brother Wolf's vision when no animal is euthanized for lack of a home.
Who's a good boy?
Hi, this is Craig Crossman, host of the Computer America Show. You have important meetings to schedule. Your company's getting ready for its IPO, and you're in charge of the PTA fundraiser this month. So how do you coordinate everyone to be available at the same time? Are you still using emails, phone calls, even text messages to schedule meetings with a group of people? How's that working out for you? Not so great, huh? It's a fact that every day, millions of people suffer from scheduling headaches. Well, with Doodle, scheduling meetings with a group of people is quick and easy. With Doodle, you can easily propose available times to each member. Each one checks off the times that they're available, and then you simply pick the time that works best for the group, all in an easy-to-read display that integrates with your existing calendar. Nothing could be more simple. Give Doodle a try for free, and like millions of Doodle users, you'll truly see how easy it is to find the perfect date and time for all your meetings. That's www.doodle.com.
Suddenly, the meaning of hanging out got all twisted. Marty Winston with a News Tips Bulletin Review for Computer America, this time Navicat for MySQL. Our database designing always involved a more visible user interface than you get with MySQL, where you normally name, define, rename, or alter its table structures one typed command at a time. We found a cure and got it in for review from Premium Soft Cybertech. It's Navicat from MySQL. It simplifies connections to MySQL servers, lets you design database tables, their fields, queries, and more from scratch, with several ways to see what you're doing, even a few graphic visualizations. We love that it caught us using the wrong length for several data types and told us how to change them. Bottom line, Navicat for MySQL takes lots of frustration off the tables. Marty Winston, News Tips Bulletin for Computer America.
And welcome back to the Computer America Show, 33 minutes past the hour, as we continue on here. For the whole show, we have Sandy Berger here with us, our consumer electronics expert. And yeah, before, and I know right before the break, in the first half hour, if you missed it for any reason, we talked a bit, of course, about the Samsung Galaxy Note. We talked all about the iPhone 7. And one other thing I wanted to bring up about the iPhone 7 that we should really talk about, because we're going to compare and contrast it to what one of the major features of the Google phone, which I should really learn the name of that phone. But yeah, no, it's Siri. And Sandy there was talking about the iOS 10, the new update, that came out a week before the phone came out, and Siri is getting more and more integration with other apps. And Sandy, as I'm sure as longtime listeners know, you are very you are very familiar with digital assistants. You have invested yourself into the Amazon ecosystem, and Alexa is you start using her more and more. And so I kind of wanted to get your feeling on digital assistants working with apps. Like, is this something like, is this kind of the way of the future, or is it a gimmick, or how is it working?
Oh, it is definitely the way of the future. There's nothing gimmicky about this. You know, what's going on is they're putting sensors into everything and getting all this information that they can now adapt to um, voice assistants. Okay, and the voice assistants themselves, the voice recognition has improved so dramatically over the past few years. The intelligence has also increased over the past few years, machine intelligence, and this is really better now. We've got Cortana from Microsoft, we've got Siri from Apple, and we've got Alexa from Amazon. And all three of these are fast learning, quickly improving, and they're going to be everywhere. Once we get everything has sensors in it and can be controlled by these voice assistants, as in Amazon Echo.
Right.
Yeah. So it's not a flash in the pan at all. I think it's something that's going to change people's lives dramatically in the next 5 years.
Yeah, and like we just said, you can do that on iOS now. Like, you can order a Lyft, or you can order a pizza, or you can do, of course, functionality is being added continuously. It's not all available immediately, but Siri is, Siri has an open API now, I think, and so depending on the app developer, they can include Siri integration at their own will. So that was a big feature of the new iOS 10.
Right.
Right, but the reason I bring that up before we move on to Google, like I said we would, was that I did see a bit of that keynote as well, or at least I read some of it. And the one thing about the Google phone that they announced, which again I'm going to look up the name here in a second,
Pixel.
Pixel. How could I forget that? That was their line of high-end Chromebooks. But yeah, so the Google Pixel phone has a deep integration, of course, with all of the Google apps, but also with this thing called Google Assistant. So
right,
even they are buying into the idea that you're going to want a digital assistant to assist you with your phone
and assist you with your life. This is not just a phone thing, although with this Pixel is the first phone that will have the Google Assistant built in. So none of us have really seen the full-blown Google Assistant yet. And it should have a lot more substance than even Amazon's Echo, although Amazon has done a great job with the Echo and with the voice of Alexa. I believe that the Google Assistant has a lot more beef to it with the technology that Google has been using and have been focusing on for the past few years. So it should be dramatically better. I'm not positive it will be, but it's going to be fascinating, and I just can't wait to get my hands on it. Now, not so much the Pixel, which is going to be, again, a very good phone, I believe. It's going to go up against the iPhone and the Samsung phones, but they also announced that they are going to have a home assistant called Google Home,
right
which is going to be just like Echo, like Amazon's Echo.
Yeah, this is all again announced out at Google's, I won't say I/O, but yeah, it was Google's big event, and they showed off all the different hardware. And the big thing about this phone is that, as we said before, they have a huge stake in Android succeeding, but with this new Google phone, this is the first time that they have kind of developed hardware. Like, Google has always been software. Like, they are the infrastructure behind so many of the things that we do on the internet every day, and for them to jump into hardware, that was a different turn. And then and just like you said, they announced quite a few things involving hardware, and one of them was Google Home.
That's right, and the other, this Pixel phone. But Google has been in hardware before, but they haven't done very well with it.
That's it.
The Nexus phone is the best example of that, and Nexus didn't do well at all. Like the reviewers gave good reviews, but it never caught on.
Like, it's funny because the one other gentleman that Mike Cermak, the one other gentleman that we had on to talk about all of the Google happenings, he is a huge Google Nexus fan. Like, that is like his line of phone. Like, he doesn't do iPhone or anything like that. He's all about the Nexus. And when they said they were going to cancel the Nexus line, he was heartbroken. But
well, I think he can take that to heart. I think he can. He'll find this new Pixel phone is going to be a lot better than the Nexus phones, even though they were well done. And like I said, they had good reviews and a strong following in the tech community. They had no following other than that.
Right.
But Google is taking a different stance on it with this Pixel phone. They are already having ads and things like that, so they're going to market the heck out of this phone. And it looks like it's going to be very similar to the Galaxies or the iPhones, in that it's got a great camera. Actually, it's supposed to, Google is announcing that it's got the best camera ever in a cell phone. I'm not sure that that's true, but we'll find that out.
Yeah, but their justification behind that was there is and again, I don't even know the review company that did this, or at least the review.
It's DxO Mark.
There we go. DxO Mark gave it an 87. 87 or 89.
89. Gave it an 89.
Right, and then the iPhone 7 got like an 85 or an 87. Like, it was,
Yeah, I think it got an 86. So it was less than that. Now, they showed in the keynote, in Google's keynote, a new video stabilization feature. But they didn't actually talk about whether the phone has optical stabilization for photos. They do have a stabilization for videos, but that's a different animal. So that's one thing I didn't know. This phone is, by the way, we should tell everybody it's going to be Verizon only.
Yeah.
It will also be sold at the Google store in an unlocked version. But if you want to buy it through an entity, Verizon is the only one who's selling it. They're going to have a 24/7 live customer care with a screen share option. So it's kind of like the Mayday thing that Amazon has come out with, which a lot of people like that quite a bit.
That is so not ordinary for Google, because if you've ever needed help with your Google account, or if you've ever needed help with YouTube, trust me, I've done it. There is no way to call someone. Like, it's all trees on the internet and guides on the internet. Like, you cannot call someone at Google and say, "Hey, what's up with this?" They just don't do it.
Okay, I got to tell you, they're changing.
Yeah,
and I believe that with this phone they're changing, but they changed. When they changed was when they came out with the on-hub router. Are you familiar with that? Did we talk about it on the show at all?
I think we did. Yeah.
Okay. It's a fabulous router. Really, really liking it. Using it every day, and I'm thrilled with it. But I had questions when I set it up. I called Google prominent telephone number there. The help was so phenomenal that they called me back the next day to find out if everything was still working okay.
I've never had that happen. Yeah.
Never had that happen. So they have already started this new type of help for people. And if they give help on the Pixel cameras, phones as good as they do on the on-hub, I think it'll be great.
Definitely. And continuing on with Google, one thing that Samsung always kind of had a niche for, Google is obviously going to try to break into the same niche, is that they have, their phones, Samsung's always had the Gear VR, which is kind of like a headset for virtual reality, and you could slip in any supported Samsung phone into it, and you could get, kind of a, I don't want to say cut rate, like it was virtual reality, of course not as fully fleshed out as, a dedicated device,
right,
but in some manners. And I'm pretty sure that Google announced a similar kind of form where you buy the headset from them, not Google Cardboard, something a little bit more substantial. And yeah, you slap your phone in and you get virtual reality for a lot of different things.
Yes, and it looks fabulous, actually. This is probably the first hardware announcement where going from product to product to product, I want to try everything.
Yeah, and
Everything that they announced looks like really good. Their virtual reality is called Daydream,
mhm.
and it's got a new VR headset that is soft and flexible. It's made out of fabric. So if you've tried the VR Samsung VR gear, um, it's uncomfortable. It's awkward. And this one looks like it's going to be softer. It's going to be more lightweight, will easily fit over eyeglasses. Um, and when you pop your phone in, this one is supposed to set up wirelessly. Problem with the Samsung phones is you had to plug them in and unplug it if you wanted to take a call, and all sorts of finagling you had to do.
Definitely, yeah, and this one is just kind of slap it in, and then NFC, Bluetooth, whichever one it is, kind of communicates everything just like that. They made it seem very, very simple and very, very intuitive when it came to strapping your phone into virtual reality. So I was excited to see that. Obviously VR is still trying to work its way into the market, but the more examples like this that you have, where it's simple, you buy one extra piece of equipment, and I think they said the Daydream headset was going to be like $60 or $50,
$79.
$79. So yeah,
Which is not bad. I mean, and they have Google Movies, Google Photos, YouTube virtual reality content. Google Street View is going to be on that. They've got actually, I think it was 150 hours or tours of curated world famous places. So, hopefully strapping these things on would be like traveling the world. Hopefully they've made progress in the image quality, because Samsung Gear, there's too much latency, and it's fabulous the first time you try it, but you can't keep these things on for very long, in my opinion. Now, maybe younger people that are more used to something like that can, but I was disappointed in the quality of it. So hopefully the Daydream project is going to take off. They're putting a lot of money into it.
definitely, definitely, and I gotta say, at least, well, I'm gonna consider myself a younger person, but we are, or at least I know I personally am, more susceptible to latency than I think a lot of my parents or what have you, or even Craig. Latency sucks. So hopefully,
Yeah.
right, that they do get that out, because latency will be the killer of virtual reality. It's
Exactly. It's got to look as real as we want it to look, or we expect it to look. Up until now, I haven't seen any that I've been thrilled with. Hopefully, Daydream will be the first.
definitely, definitely. All right, and so with that said, let's see. We covered the Daydream, covered the new phone, Google Home. You mentioned that that's going to be a competitor to, let's say, the Alexa. Yeah.
We need to talk a little bit more about Google Home, but there was two other announcements that Google made. The first was Google Wi-Fi, which is going to be available in December.
Is Google Wi-Fi their phone service, or is that just their
No,
Wi-Fi?
it's their Wi-Fi router, like the OnHub router that I just talked about.
Right.
But it's going to be done in access points. So you'll buy one for $129, or you'll buy a 3-pack for, I think it was.
Oh, might have just lost Sandy there. Don't. Hopefully, that's just a little bit of lag there, but yeah, it's the product again is called the Google Wi-Fi. You can check it out yourself at the Google Store, and yeah, it looks like Sandy did indeed drop right there. But yeah, it's Google Wi-Fi. They're little, kind of think of like two hockey pucks kind of stacked on top of each other, and yeah, it's and with the cord running out behind it, and it promises, and I'm sorry, it promises to be a mesh network for your home. And I think right now, for the longest time, most consumers, they didn't like the idea of having all this technology around their house. So technology in consumers' homes has always been the one router, the one connector, just that one place in your house where you. Oh, and yeah, and Sandy, if you can hear me, I just saw you mute yourself. For whatever reason, I can't hear it. Like, you just cut out all of a sudden. So yeah. Maybe it's on my end. don't think so though. All right, so yeah, and yeah, so hopefully she can kind of reconnect or rejoin and bring it back to us. But yeah, no, this Google Wi-Fi, the idea is that you want.
Hello,
There you go. Hi.
Ben.
Yeah. Sandy, can you hear me?
Ben.
Sandy, can you hear? Oh, Sandy can't hear me now, but we can hear her. Okay, so let's see. Let's see. I can hear you, and she just left. All right, so she'll be right back. Weirdest things. But yeah, it's people do not like the idea of having Wi-Fi routers all over their home. But with Google Wi-Fi, they're hoping you have 3 or 4 pucks everywhere around your house, in your basement, on each floor of your house, and you get a strong Wi-Fi signal everywhere. And that is, of course, opposed to just the one and then repeaters or what have you. This is potentially a mesh network. So you don't get kind of threaded through something else. It's all just one signal. Hopefully that is the answer, or at least what Google is hoping for. And then Google is also going to be included with, make it very, very easy. 3 Wi-Fi points, as I said. And Sandy's back with us. And Sandy, can you hear me?
Hello, Ben.
Sandy. All right. So yeah. So for whatever reason she can't hear me. You can't hear me. All right. Yeah. Weird how that just breaks like that. It's strangest thing. But yeah. So again, check that out at Google Wi-Fi, and it's supposed to work with all of the different Google products, of course, because I think one of the other features of the phone that we're going to talk about, Pixel, is that they have their own kind of cell phone service that really utilizes Wi-Fi as much as possible. Open public Wi-Fi, it will connect to it, and if it can't connect to Wi-Fi, then it will send you to Verizon towers, I believe, and you kind of piggyback on that one. And with that, you, of course, hopefully use less data. And yeah, again, it's kind of an alternative carrier option for Google products. So we're hoping that works out well. Let's check one more time back with Sandy. Sandy, can you hear me? Okay, so she still can't hear me. Let's type that again. And yeah, so yeah, hopefully she gets back here with us, because I really wanted to bring up one other topic, at least before the show. And again, I have no idea why she can't hear me. So let's see. All right. So, and again, you can check that out at the Google Store. And right now it's available through a wait list, which I just accidentally signed up for. So yeah, we'll see what happens there. But yeah, they promise attic to basement coverage, and yeah, it's AC Wi-Fi, all that good stuff. 2.4 gigahertz, 5 gigahertz, and yeah, we'll see what happens with that. But it's very much Google style, very basic. Clear white plastic. Yeah, not much to say about it. But hopefully it's an alternative to the traditional router. And I can bet you that this is something that a lot of your traditional routers are keeping an eye out on. Some of our favorites are like Netgear and Linksys and what have you. You can bet that they're probably going to have something very, very similar in the near future, because I know that at least Netgear has dabbled heavily in in repeaters and range extenders and things like that. And this is kind of the next iteration, where why have range extenders when you could just have multiple Wi-Fi connection points of the same network? So yeah, hopefully it's something that is going to make it further into the marketplace. So yeah, and Danny, can you hear me? All right, still can't hear me. Wow, what a unfortunate turn of events. But yeah, and I was kind of interested to hear what her her other announcement was, other than the Google Wi-Fi. But yeah, it's crazy what happened. All right, so yeah, we have a little bit more time here in today's show, and hopefully Sandy can join us once again. Once she can hear me, and we might jump back to Google when she can finally kind of register what we're doing here. But one other topic I wanted to bring up with Sandy, because she does do so much in reviews and some, for many circles, many publications. She not just the ones that you leave on Amazon, but I think one of Amazon's greatest strengths when it comes to being an online retailer is the fact that, of course, you can go on and find reviews of products that you want to buy. Some of them are hilarious and obviously, kind of meant to get a laugh instead of an actual review. Case in point, please go check out sugar-free Haribo gummy bears, or certain gallons of milk I know that you can buy on Amazon, or there's a 55-gallon drum of machine lubricant. And reviews are meant to be taken with a grain of salt, but someone ran the numbers, and I believe this was last done through Reddit, and it was crazy just how many paid reviews, or at least incentivized reviews, where a company would send out a product for review and would in turn ask for a review on Amazon. And someone ran the numbers. It was completely biased. Whenever someone got a product for review and they turned around and had to give a review on Amazon or anywhere else, they always ask for a quote unquote honest review. But by and large, what they found was that that just didn't happen. And they even pointed to a few products that weren't even out on the market when they were reviewed, let alone they were still in production. There was no way they could get into customers' hands. And we saw this with the article that I kind of found pointed to a phone case that had 10 different reviews posted before it ever hit the store shelves. As in, obviously, these people are just lying and were promised a free phone case, and in turn gave a good review in return for a phone case. Very crazy how that happened, and just not good at all. And again, I kind of wanted Sandy Berger's input, but of course Sandy Berger appears to be her connection seems to have dropped for whatever reason, and hopefully she's able to make it back here with us. But if not, you can definitely check more out. But this Amazon review thing, Amazon announced, I want to say a couple days ago, that they are looking into it. And you may notice many products out there that you have shopped for are starting to have less and less reviews. Amazon is taking a very firm stance on this, and they want to weed out as many paid for reviews as they possibly can, because again, it doesn't benefit the shopper to see 20 5-star reviews when all of them were in response to, I received this product for free, here's my review of it, and they're overwhelmingly positive because of the incentives you have for doing exactly that. And so keep an eye out for those. It's in anything that starts out with, I received this product for review. I know that we do that here on Computer America all the time, and we really do try to be completely honest. But even with us, even with others, if you ever get something that says, we received this product in exchange for our honest review, always be skeptical. As with any review, always be skeptical of the product. That is one of Amazon's better points, is that you can see what other people think. And if it's cluttered with nonsensical things that are, just kind of bought and paid for, then it's becomes no better than Yelp. Although I know some people would take exception to that, but Yelp ran into the exact same problem on their own. And Yelp took the initiative that, hey, what they leave is none of our business, and we're not going to they're not going to interfere with reviews, even though they kind of did. Amazon seems to be taking kind of a more public opposite approach, where they are taking down quote unquote honest reviews, and and of course requiring the transparent disclosures. But keep an eye out. So unfortunately, Sandy Berger was
90 seconds.
Unfortunately, Sandy Berger was not able to join us again. I mean, I think we had a lot of great conversation. We lost the last 5 minutes, unfortunately, of Sandy Berger, but she will be back next month. Yeah, the second Wednesday of the month, to give us a mulligan and try and talk about many, many other things, including some things we didn't even talk about today, including the new Surface tablet. And she has some hands-on with that, and hopefully we'll be able to, of course, talk about that next month.
60 seconds.
For everyone else out there, thank you for tuning into the Computer America Show. And tomorrow we have a great show planned for you as soon as we figure out who we even have lined up for tomorrow. Tomorrow we have a couple of prospective guests, but it's either going to be 3D printing or it's going to be NAFA, N-A-F-A. And yeah, it's that is from the University of Princeton, where they have a new technology out for fleet management. More interesting than it sounds, I promise. Everyone, looking forward to talking to all of you tomorrow, and have a great day. Sandy, if you can hear me for whatever reason, it's okay. We'll get you back next month. And everyone, please check out the show notes for links to Sandy's website, columns, and more. And of course, topics for today.
10 seconds.
Have a great day, everyone. See you tomorrow, same time, 4 o'clock Eastern. Bye, everyone. And for everyone else watching on the video portion, again, sorry, Sandy. I'm sure that you're listening right now. We would have loved to finish out the show with you, but connection issues being what they are, it's unavoidable. So yeah, we'll have you back on, and everyone else, tune in tomorrow for another great show of Computer America. See you tomorrow. Have a good one, everyone. Bye-bye.